Hello and good evening, everybody. It is our Saturday Night Live, and tonight we're talking about why your scale might be gaslighting you. Your hormones are not your enemy, and your metabolism is not broken, it is protective. Um, Before we get started on this, just a reminder this is education, it is not medical advice. I am not diagnosing, prescribing, or replacing your MD. If you have a thyroid disease, PCOS, insulin resistance, diabetes, or if you are using any metabolic or weight loss meds, um, this is a team sport with your clinician. Use this episode as language, context, and questions to bring into that partnership. Now we're going to get into Raven real style talk. Okay, here we go. If the scale could talk, what would it say? Look at me. I'm going to decide your mood today. And most of the time, you just want to tell it to shut up. Um, because the shared experience across all metabolic disorders is usually this: you do the work, you eat less, you try to be good, you cut out all the bad foods you can think of, you start all the medications the doctor has given you. And what does the scale do? It acts like you've done nothing. So I'm going to say this very clearly. Your scale, for lack of a better term, is gaslighting you. Your hormones are not your enemy. Your metabolism is not broken, it's protective. It is protecting you. If you have lived with the metabolic stress long enough, thyroid dysfunction, PCOS, insulin resistance, which many of us may have and not even know it, um, and diabetes, your body becomes an expert in that survival. And survival biology does not care about your goal weight. It doesn't care. It just cares keeping you alive. And that is what we're going to unpack today. Metabolic disorders have different labels, similar survival wiring. When people get stuck because they think their diagnosis is the whole story, I'm hyperthyroid, so my metabolism is slow. I have PCOS, so I can't lose weight. Um, I'm insulin resistant, so carbs will ruin me. I'm diabetic, so I'm doomed. That's a big one. For anybody that's ever been diagnosed with diabetes, as an adult, it's usually a complete shock to them and they kind of shut down. They feel doomed. My husband went through that. But there are bigger patterns underneath all of it. Metabolic disorders are often the body adapting to the chronic stress signals. Those signals can include chronic elevated insulin, chronic cortisol and stress, sleep disruption, inflammation, underfueling and rebound cycling, hormonal dysregulation, poor satiety signaling. And when that happens, the body becomes more efficient at storing fat. It becomes more resistant to letting it go, quicker to adapt when intake drops, loud conditions. So we're going to kind of break it down the way that it looks. The hyperthyroidism is a protective style and often looks like slower baseline burn, a lot more water retention, cold intolerance and fatigue, constipation. I can diet like a monk and nothing ever happens. Um, And I think a lot of people may not realize that they have hyperthyroidism. It is something that can be tested. It is something to open up and discuss with your doctor if you have symptoms like that. PCOS, which most people that have PCOS have been diagnosed, but there are probably plenty that have not. Um, Insulin drives fat storage and hunger. Cravings aren't weakness, they're physiology. Weight loss triggers stronger defense. I gain weight breathing nearing a bagel. That's how they feel. I have literally breathed near a bagel, kind of like that lady that you might be talking to that says, uh, I can get pregnant if a guy looks at me. I was one of those. That's me. It's that kind of a feeling. And for some, the androgens make the body composition shift harder. That is what PCOS brings to the table. Insulin resistance often feels like you're hungry again way too soon. You crash after meals. Your body stores before it burns. You can't, or you can be in a deficit, but still feel inflamed and very stuck. Pre-diabetes and diabetes. So as you're going through and your A1Cs are starting on the rise, there's that pre-diabetic phase. It is something to definitely pay attention to in your A1Cs. Please get A1Cs checked, even even as you're losing weight, because you can shift too low. For many, diabetes will add fear-based eating. I'm scared to eat anything. Over restriction leading to instability. Medication and glucose dynamics that can shift water weight dramatically. And my blood sugar improved, but the weight didn't, which is absolute frustration. These conditions are not meant that your body is broken. They mean your body has been fighting to stabilize for a very long time. And I think that is important because I've been hearing on the platform, I'm stuck. I'm not losing any weight. Hey, I've been taking all these GLPs and now wanting to stack. And can I stack Retta? Can I stack TERS? Can I do semaretas? Um, so some of these may be some of the problems that you're having. And again, getting your labs done. Um, we have gone over on lives about getting your labs done. I do believe Joy has been working on posting where you rib patterns. I don't know how many of you uh, have grown up with I'm going to eat because I'm rewarding myself. I got cookies because I got an A on my test from mom. We're going to go out and celebrate at whatever the big restaurant was in the 80s to go and feast because you finished all your exams. That is reward based. Um, so it's supposed to help reduce that kind of pattern. For many people, the first time they feel relief is this is how normal people feel around food. And it's when you go out there and you look at the skinny people with the perfect metabolisms and no issues with their metabolics, and you're going, how can they sit there and eat all this? Is this how they, how do they do it? How are they able to control it? And it makes you wonder if this is how those quote normal people feel. Yep, pretty much. What they do not do and why stalls happen. They don't automatically fix thyroid hormone signaling. They do not fix PCOS driven insulin hyperretention changes, and they do not, uh-oh, what just happened? Technical difficulty, sorry guys. Okay, so back to where I was. I'm trying to remember where I dropped off. Um, where they don't fix the thyroid hormone signaling, they don't fix PCOS, they don't erase metabolic adaptation if you chronically undereat, they do not override cortisol and sleep dysfunction, they don't prevent water retention changes, and they don't preserve muscle unless you support it to. Eat your protein. The trap that people will tend to fall into is they assume the lower appetite equals a guaranteed weight loss. But the body is not an Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to repeat that. Your body is not an Excel spreadsheet. If your appetite drops and you underfuel, your body can respond like, cool, we're in scarcity. Let's shut it down. That's why some people say, I'm eating less than ever, but now I'm stalled. It's not the drug failing, it's the safety system that your body has reacting to the fact you are underfueling. Undereating backfire, the protective metabolism spiral. That is what you're looking at. This is the part that changes everything. The metabolic disorder paradox. People with the metabolic disorders often feel like they eat less than everyone else to lose. They have to do it. That's how they feel. So they do it. And their body responds with defense. And the defense looks like this: your fatigue will increase, the workouts are going to feel a lot harder. Steps drop without noticing. Constipation might worsen. Sleep becomes lighter. Your stress level, cortisol, rises. Water retention is going to increase. The scale is going to stop moving. So, what do? You cut more. And that's the spiral. You just continue to cut to the point where you're not eating. If you're on appetite suppressing meds and you're winning by eating almost nothing, you may be creating the exact biological conditions that are going to stall you. Stability is the unlock, not the punishment. You have to fuel your body. Water versus fat loss. The skill that is going to save your sanity, that water weight moves for reasons fat does not. Water weight, sodium, inflammation, stress and cortisol, sleep, constipation, your menstrual cycle for women, um, glycagon shifts, insulin changes, especially in insulin resistance and diabetics. What fat loss looks like is slower trend to change, measurements drop, clothes fit looser, your face will begin to change, your waistline will begin to shift, strength holds and improves. What water weight loss looks like: sudden whoosh, sudden rebound, big swings day to day, the scale drama with no clothing changes. So if you think about it, when it's all water, it's like a pendulum and it's just going to keep swinging like this. That's not losing fat. Why PCOS, insulin resistant diabetics are extra confusing. When insulin improves, your body often refills glycagon. Glycogen holds the water. So the scale may stall while your metabolism is actually improving. I'm going to repeat that. While your body's fixing itself, the scale may stall while your metabolism is finally improving. That's why sometimes the scale doesn't drop when everything starts to stabilize. If you're only using the scale as your feedback, you're using the least accurate tool. I really hate the scale. I think it is one of our worst tools that we have. You want to track your waist and hip measurements weekly, your average rate trend, not daily drama, how your clothes fit, glucose trends if you're trending your glucose, if you're tracking it, energy and sleep, and your digestion, and your strength performance. Those are the things that you want to pay attention to. When somebody says the medicine isn't working, the real reasons, and then the list is pretty big. Metabolic markers improve before weight loss. especially in diabetics and insulin resistant. Your glucose needs time to normalize, your insulin demand decreases, inflammation will start to reduce, and your weight loss may lag. Again, while your metabolism and everything is fixing everything. Your deficit is too aggressive. We've got somebody in here who can talk about that. Low intake, low energy output will make a stall. Absorption and timing issues, especially with thyroid meds and slowed gastric emptying, inconsistent absorption, inconsistent signaling. So if you're on medication, you really need to take a look at when you're taking your medication because those are the things that are going to help you also. Water retention masks your fat loss, especially with stress and sleep issues. So you may be actually losing fat, but not losing weight on the scale because you're retaining water. The best way to stop retaining water is to drink more water because your body doesn't hold on to it. Muscle loss reduces metabolic output. If you aren't preserving your muscle, your output drops, your appearance is going to worsen, and the weight loss becomes even harder. Your dose timing needs reassessment. As your body changes, so must your plan. Talk to your doctors that prescribe your meds if you are on them. Please talk to your doctors about the timing that you are going to take your PCOS meds, your insulin meds, whether you're on metformin or some of the other ones. All of these matter. Timing is going to matter. TERS versus RETA. This is just the bottom line truth. The stronger tool doesn't always fix an unstable system. Retatrutide may be more potent on the average in trials, which is really cool. But if your issues are already underfueling, sleep disruption, cortisol, thyroid absorption, untreated insulin resistant patterns, then stronger is just another stronger suppression. And suppression without stability can backfire. So the question is, which is stronger? It's what is limiting, what is my limiting factor, and what does my current plan and how is it addressing it? Those are the questions you need to look at. The missing satiety signal, why it matters in the metabolic disorders. Many metabolic patients are just not hungry, they're unsatisfied. They're just not satisfied. It's not that they're hungry, they are not satisfied. That's a satiety signaling issue. Amylin, which is Cagri, affects satiety, post meal stability, glucose dynamics, central appetite regulation. And that is why combining satiety pathways can sometimes help in certain metabolic profiles. This is where we're going to talk a bit about the amylins. This is why it may not be for everyone if you're already getting the satiety. But if you're not getting satiety, that I am actually full, that is where the amylin can help. Amylin is very, very strong. Who should not add amylin? Somebody that has already had issues with the gastroparesis, where it's really stops everything. Obviously, very, very intense situation. And somebody with severe mobility issues, somebody with a eating disorder history, somebody that's pregnant or breastfeeding, somebody that's already under nutrition, meaning they already under eating. They're just not eating enough. Uncontrolled hypoglycemic risks in certain contexts. High cautions with the amylins or severe GLP nausea you may already be having, sorry. Low transit constipation and significant reflux issues. Amylin is a precision tool. It's not a punishment tool, not a make me eat even less tool. It is there as an assist, but if you're already under eating, then it's not your go-to. You guys really, really need to look at your intake versus outflow. Signs that your dose or timing may need some reassessment. And this is on any metabolic med. That includes the thyroid meds, the glucose, the insulin, your GLPs, your blood pressure meds. Um, The things that you need to look for: fatigue changes, constipation changes, hunger pattern is weird, glucose swings despite the lower intake, inconsistent responses week to week. Your doses may be off if you feel more hyperthyroid, cold, puffy, tired. If your water retention increases, your appetite suppression is extreme, but there's been absolutely no body change. Your glucose improves, but your weight and energy are worsening. These are not you failing. They are signals that your physiology has shifted and you need to look at the timing of all your medications because everything fits together like a puzzle. Um, so if you're gonna go and talk to your doctor about this, you wanna talk to them about your symptom timelines, your appetite changes, your digestion changes, your sleep changes, your weight trend averages, your measurements, your glucose trends, if relevant, and a list of med timing. So writing down what time of the day, not just what day, of all your meds and supplements. Um, so some things you could say, my physiology has changed since starting treatment. Can we reassess the timing and the dose? I'm seeing changes in appetite and digestion that might affect absorption. Can we take a review of this? I want to make sure my current plan still matches my current body. That's even more important. If you've lost weight, everything needs to be looked at. Um, do we need to do the labs again? Could slowed down digestion affect the absorption of my meds? Um, should timing be adjusted? Does my dose still match my needs after my weight change? Advocating for yourself shouldn't be difficult, but it is being involved in what you need to do. And you guys are already doing that by doing all this research that you are doing. But if you've got these prescription meds in your lineup, it is something you need to address. It is something that we address here at home. Husband is diabetic. We are constantly, he has a lot of telehealth to assess all the meds that he's taking so that everything continues to work for him, especially if we see some major stalls. Um, so whether you have hyperthyroidism, PCOS, insulin resistance, diabetes, at the end of the day, your body isn't broken. It's been protective because it's been under stress for many years. Um, fat loss is not just about eating less, it's stability, it's regulation, consistency, preservation of your muscle, sleep and stress support, appropriate med strategies with your doctor. Your scale is not on to aggression, they respond to safety. That is some of the most important things. So, can you add an amylin? You can. You need to do it low and slow. You need to look at all the other factors. You need to look at, have I actually been eating enough? Because if you are not eating enough, you don't have the gas in your body to continue to run, and your metabolism, your body, everything is going to go into that protection mode. It's also going to start eating your muscles. Your body is going to cannibalize itself in order to keep your internal organs running. So I want to repeat that. If you are not eating enough, it still has to get enough energy to keep your heart beating, to keep you breathing, to keep your liver functioning, your kidneys functioning, your brain functioning. The fastest and easiest place for it to get that is your muscle tissue. If you are not eating enough protein and you are not eating enough calories. Um, I have always called when people start super stacking or just rage up and say, "Well, I'm only eating," and my question is, "Are you on the anorexic protocol?" Um, Most people know what anorexia is, and it's when generally an anorexic will eat 500 or less calories a day, and some of them will push their body to burn about 3 to 4,000 calories a day. I want you to think about that. Normally, you burn somewhere between 18 to 2,200 calories a day. So 1,800 to 2,200 just doing your regular breathing, living, whatever, getting up, going to the bathroom. This doesn't include any of the exercise that you might do. Um, that's the general consensus of normal. So when you're not fueling your body and you're in too much of a deficit, your body goes into super protection. If you are only eating 500 calories, and I know you think you're losing weight, your body is going to shut it down. So really, well, I'm only eating 800 calories. I'm only eating, this, or I'm holding on to water weight, so I'm not going to drink any more water. I've got enough liquid in my body. The more water you drink, because your body's holding on to that water for a reason, then it's going to start flushing it through. But you got to give your body the time to do that. You've got to allow your body to realize, oh, you're finally listening to me. And it will respond, but it's not going to respond overnight. These are the people that are the slow losers. These are the people that are the slow responders. Um, it I can't stress it enough. You need to fuel your body, but you also need to fuel it with premium fuel. So don't eat 3 biscuits for breakfast and think that that's good food. That's not going to keep you full. You'd be better off eating 6 eggs if you can fit that much. Um, Protein should come first if you're going to eat carbs. And yes, you can eat carbs. You eat good whole carbs. Avoid white bread, avoid any of that stuff. If you really want bread, um, you can get the whole wheat seeded bread. I happen to like the Dave's Thin. It's 70 calories. I have one slice and I throw peanut butter on it and have a yogurt with it. That tends to be my average breakfast with a coffee laced with protein. Um, that tends to be my breakfast. I know I'm getting my protein in. Um, I then drink water throughout the day after I've had my coffee, and I don't stop drinking my water. I drink a lot of water. It's really, really important to drink that water. I know a lot of you guys know what weight loss surgery is. These GLPs are very similar to weight loss in a shot, the weight loss surgery in a shot. And when you do weight loss surgery, if you're with a program that makes you go through all the nutrition, all of the psychiatric counseling and everything else before you're even approved, it's still the same idea. You may have underlying issues. You have to look for what those are and you have to adjust for them. You need to look at whatever meds you are on. Many of us that have been overweight will have had some form of a metabolic issue. I was pre diabetic, my husband was diabetic. Um, I'm sure many people are insulin resistant and didn't even know it. Thyroidism goes undiagnosed a lot. It really does. So at the end of the day, what needs to be done, and I'm going to say it again, is take a look at your intake, take a look at your outflow, take a look at the meds that you're on, the timing that you're on them. Fuel your body with premium fuel, and don't look at the scale as the end all be all. That scale is never going to be your friend. The tape measure will more likely be a friend. Water is your friend. Um, Talking with your doctor, and you need to let them know that you're on these. Don't hide it from them because at the end of the day, it's important to have in your records, regardless of where you're getting it from. If you're getting it from them, if you're getting it from a med spa, you're getting it through research. They should still know because if you're on any kind of medications, that all needs to be adjusted, especially blood pressure meds and metabolic meds. So that's really everything. I want to thank everybody for coming and hearing what I had to say on this. I've been thinking about it for quite a while, listening to what people have to say, and hopefully there's been some takeaway from this. This is going to be posted up on our YouTube so that people can come back and listen to it again. Again, this is not medical advice. I am not a doctor. I am not prescribing anything. This is about how to help you navigate the waters and how to help you have an open discussion with your doctor if these are things that you are noticing in yourself.